My child, let those words settle gently in your heart for a moment. History will be made tomorrow. Not someday far away, not in a distant future, but tomorrow. When you hear that, something stirs inside you, even if you can't fully explain it. There is a quiet alertness in your spirit, a sense that this is not just a dramatic phrase, but a message meant to reach you personally. Before we go any further, pause for just a second and notice where you are, how you feel, what time it is. This very moment matters more than you realize. If your heart feels even slightly touched right now, I invite you to respond. Comment something simple like, "I am ready" or "I believe." These words are not for me, my child, they are for you. And if messages like this bring you peace, clarity, or strength, subscribe so you stay connected. Sometimes consistency is how faith grows quietly, day by day. My child, you may be wondering what kind of history could possibly be made tomorrow, and why your life would be connected to something so significant. Those questions are natural. Curiosity, anticipation, even a little uncertainty can rise together. You might feel as though you're standing in front of a closed door, sensing something important behind it, but unable to see through. Do not let that unsettle you. Understanding does not always arrive before transformation. Often it follows after the first step is taken. Tomorrow is not just another page on the calendar. It is not meant to blend in with ordinary days. Tomorrow carries a turning point energy, a shift that changes direction, perspective, and momentum. My child, you are not merely observing this moment in history, you are part of it. Your story is woven into something larger, something purposeful, something carefully designed long before you were aware of it. I know questions are forming in your mind. Why you? Why now? Why would something so meaningful touch your life specifically? You may even feel unqualified, unprepared, or unsure. But listen closely, my child. What qualifies you is not perfection, but endurance, not status, but sincerity, not strength alone, but the way you kept going even when you were tired. I've seen every step you took when no one else noticed. There have been battles in your life that drained you quietly, struggles you carried without explanation, moments when the weight felt heavier than the progress. I know the nights when you searched for answers in silence, hoping for relief, longing for clarity. Those moments were not wasted. They were shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for what is about to unfold. Within the next day, something will begin to lift. It may not arrive with noise or spectacle, but you will feel it. A burden loosening, a fear softening, a situation beginning to turn. My child, I am not distant from your challenges. The same power that formed creation itself is actively involved in clearing obstacles from your path. What once felt immovable will start to shift. You may not yet see how it will all come together, and that is okay. Faith does not require full visibility, only trust. I know the depth of your need, even the parts you struggle to put into words. Others may see only the surface of your life, but I see the quiet battles beneath. I see the hope you tried to protect even when disappointment knocked repeatedly. My plans for you are not vague or uncertain. They are intentional and alive, working in the background of your life even now. Your struggles have not gone unheard. Your prayers have not been overlooked. Everything unfolding around you is part of a larger story, moving steadily toward hope, peace, and purpose. My child, change is closer than it appears. You may sense it as a subtle shift in your thoughts, a calm replacing restlessness, or a quiet confidence returning. These are signs, gentle confirmations that something new is approaching. Do not dismiss them. Tomorrow holds more than routine. It holds movement. What once seemed unreachable will begin to feel possible. What felt like an ending will reveal itself as a beginning. Doors you thought were closed forever may open in ways you did not expect. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. I ask you one thing, my child. When tomorrow comes, will you be open? Will you allow yourself to believe that good can arrive without struggle, that change can come without loss, that blessings do not always require pain first? Prepare your heart not with fear, but with expectation. Everything you have lived, every experience you have gathered, has been shaping you for what is next. You are standing at the edge of a new chapter, one that carries growth, connection, and renewal. History will be made tomorrow, not because the world will announce it loudly, but because something in your life will never be the same again. Stay present, stay open, and remember, my child, this is only the beginning. My child, stay with me and do not let your thoughts wander, because what is unfolding now builds gently upon what you have already received. The moment you are living in is not random, and neither is the timing of these words. There is a quiet preparation happening within you, even if your outer world still looks the same. That is how real change begins, from the inside outward. You may feel a strange mix of emotions right now. Hope paired with uncertainty, calm mixed with anticipation. This does not mean you are confused. It means your spirit is recognizing movement before your mind can explain it. When something important approaches, the heart often senses it first. Trust that feeling, my child. It is not misleading you. Tomorrow carries a weight because it carries alignment. Alignment between what you have endured and what you are about to receive. Nothing you went through was wasted. Every delay refined you. Every closed door redirected you. Every moment of waiting built endurance within you that you will soon be grateful for. You are stronger than you realize, not because life was easy, but because you stayed present through difficulty. My child, there were moments when you felt unseen. Moments when you wondered if your efforts mattered, if your patience was worth it, if anyone truly noticed how hard you were trying. I noticed. Every quiet act of faith, every time you chose hope over bitterness, every time you continued even when motivation faded, it was all seen and remembered. Something is shifting in how you view yourself. You may not fully recognize it yet, but self-doubt is loosening its grip. You are beginning to stand a little steadier in who you are. You are no longer asking for permission to exist or to grow. This inner shift is important because what is coming requires confidence, not arrogance, but assurance. My child, tomorrow does not promise perfection. It promises progress. It promises a turning of direction, a new awareness, a step forward that changes momentum. You may wake up and notice that something feels different even before anything happens externally. That feeling is alignment settling in. You have been prepared for this moment through both joy and hardship. The lessons you learned were not punishments, they were instructions. They taught you discernment, they taught you patience, they taught you when to hold on and when to let go. These lessons are about to protect what comes next. Do not underestimate the power of small beginnings. What unfolds tomorrow may start quietly, but its impact will grow. A conversation, a realization, an opportunity, a release. These are how history begins to change in personal lives, not always with noise, but with meaning. If your heart feels encouraged right now, take a moment and comment something you are grateful for. Gratitude opens your awareness to what is already working in your favor. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so with intention. Staying connected is not about obligation, it is about nourishment for your spirit. My child, you are not behind. You are right on time. The pace of your journey was necessary for your growth. Comparing your life to others only distracts you from the unique path you are walking. Your story does not need to look like anyone else's to be meaningful. There is also healing happening beneath the surface. Old disappointments are losing their power. Memories that once caused pain are softening. This healing is important because it clears space. Space for trust, space for joy, space for what is coming next. Tomorrow invites you to step into a new posture, one of openness instead of defense, expectation instead of fear. You do not need to know every detail. You only need to remain willing, willing to receive, willing to believe that good can come without struggle attached to it. My child, be gentle with yourself today. Rest when you need to. Breathe deeply. Let go of the urge to control what cannot be controlled. What is meant for you does not require force. It finds you when you are aligned, not anxious. You are standing on the edge of something meaningful, not because you earned it through exhaustion, but because you grew through experience. Tomorrow will mark a shift, subtle or visible, but real. And once it begins, you will look back and recognize this moment as the calm before movement. Stay open. Stay grounded. History is not always written in headline. Sometimes it is written quietly in a life that finally begins to move forward. Remain here, my child. What comes next will build upon this. My child, understand this clearly now. You did not arrive at this moment by accident, and tomorrow does not stand before you without meaning. There has been a careful shaping of your heart happening over time, even during moments when you felt stuck, unseen, or unsure. What felt like waiting was actually strengthening. What felt like silence was alignment. Tomorrow does not arrive empty-handed. It arrives carrying the weight of everything you endured and everything you became because you refused to give up. You have walked through days where hope felt thin and nights where questions grew louder than answers. You carried responsibility quietly, often without recognition, and you kept going even when motivation faded. My child, that perseverance matters more than you know. It is the very reason you can be trusted with what comes next. Tomorrow is not simply a reward. It is a response to who you have become through patience, humility, and quiet courage. There is a reason your spirit feels alert right now. A reason your thoughts keep circling back to the idea that something is about to change. This is not imagination. This is awareness awakening. When history begins to shift in a personal life, the soul senses it before circumstances reveal it. That subtle tension you feel is not fear, it is readiness stretching you into a new posture. My child, you are being moved out of survival mode and into stability. This transition can feel strange because peace feels unfamiliar after chaos. You may find yourself less reactive, less desperate to control outcomes, less willing to chase validation. That is growth speaking. That is alignment forming. What arrives tomorrow needs this version of you, not the one who doubted their worth or questioned their place. You are also releasing expectations that once limited you, expectations shaped by past disappointment, by broken promises, by experiences that taught you to brace instead of trust. My child, those expectations protected you then, but they are no longer needed now. Tomorrow asks you to receive without suspicion, to welcome without fear, and to believe that good can arrive without being followed by loss. Notice how certain worries are already losing intensity, how thoughts that once repeated endlessly now pause more often. This is not because your problems disappeared overnight, but because your foundation is changing. When the foundation shifts, the weight above it redistributes. You are standing differently now, and that changes how life meets you. My child, tomorrow may not announce itself loudly, it may not arrive with instant answers or dramatic signs, but it will bring confirmation, a moment where something clicks, a realization that brings relief. a step that feels unexpectedly right. History is often made quietly in individual lives, through decisions, encounters, and inner shifts that alter direction forever. You have been prepared to recognize this moment. That is why impatience has softened. That is why comparison no longer satisfies you. That is why you are craving depth instead of noise. These are signs of maturity, and maturity attracts responsibility and blessing alike. You are not being handed something fragile, you are being trusted with something meaningful. My child, let go of the idea that you must understand everything before you move forward. Clarity often follows obedience, not the other way around. Tomorrow invites trust, not certainty. It invites openness, not control. When you meet it with willingness instead of fear, you allow what is meant to stay to settle into your life naturally. You may also notice that relatio. Ships begin to shift. Some will deepen, some will fade, some will return with new energy. This is not loss, it is alignment, adjusting your surroundings to match who you are becoming. You no longer need to carry connections that drain you or dim your growth. What belongs with you will move forward with you. If your heart feels steady right now, acknowledge it. If it feels emotional, allow it. Preparation often stirs feelings because it asks you to release what you leaned on before. But my child, you are not losing anything of value. You are making room for what fits this next chapter. Remember this clearly, you are not late and you are not behind. Your journey required depth, not speed. Others may seem ahead, but they did not walk your path or learn your lessons. Your timing is precise, and tomorrow meets you exactly where you are meant to be. Stay grounded today, rest when needed, speak kindly to yourself. Tomorrow will carry momentum, and momentum flows best through a calm and open heart. You do not need to force anything into place. What is meant to move will move. History will be made tomorrow, my child, not because the world will change overnight, but because something within your life will shift in a way that cannot be undone. And once it begins, you will understand why everything before this moment happened exactly as it did. My child, as you move closer to tomorrow, something deeper is happening within you than simple anticipation. This is the phase where trust is no longer just an idea, but a posture of the heart. You may notice that you are no longer begging for signs the way you once did. You are listening instead. That shift matters. It shows that you are beginning to understand that what is coming does not need to be chased. It is approaching you with intention. Heaven does not rush, but it also does not forget. And right now, everything is lining up. With precision that may feel slow on the surface, but is exact beneath it. You have reached a point where your inner strength is no longer built on resistance alone. Before, you survived by pushing through, holding on, bracing yourself for impact. But now, something has softened without making you weak. You are learning how to stand without tension. You are learning that peace can exist even before circumstances change. This is not complacency, this is maturity. And maturity is required for what is about to enter your life, because what comes next will need care, wisdom, and steadiness to last. My child, there were seasons when you believed you had to struggle constantly to prove your worth. You felt that rest would somehow undo progress, that pausing meant falling behind. But those beliefs were born out of fear, not truth. Now you are beginning to understand that rest restores clarity, and clarity strengthens direction. This understanding is changing how you move, how you decide, and how you respond. Tomorrow meets a version of you that is no longer frantic, no longer desperate, no longer doubting whether you deserve good things. There is also a release happening around old timelines you once imagined for yourself. You had plans, expectations, and deadlines that life did not honor the way you hoped. That disappointment taught you patience, but it also taught you flexibility. You are no longer rigid about how things must unfold. This openness is important, my child, because what is coming may arrive differently than you once pictured, but it will carry deeper fulfillment than what you originally imagined. Pay attention to how your inner dialogue has changed. You are not criticizing yourself the way you once did. You are not replaying failures endlessly. You are beginning to speak to yourself with understanding instead of accusation. This internal shift is not small. It is foundational. What you say to yourself determines how you receive what comes next. A harsh inner voice repels peace. A compassionate one welcomes growth. My child, tomorrow brings movement, but not chaos. It brings answers, but not overwhelm. It brings opportunity, but not pressure. You are not being thrown into something you cannot handle. You are being guided into something that matches the strength you have quietly developed. Every lesson, every delay, every closed door prepared you for this moment in ways you could not see at the time. There may still be moments of doubt that try to surface. That is normal. Doubt does not mean failure. It means you are stepping into unfamiliar territory. But notice this, doubt no longer controls you. It may speak, but it does not decide. You have learned to pause, to breathe, to wait for clarity instead of reacting impulsively. This restraint protects what is about to grow in your life. My child, you are also becoming more discerning about who and what you allow close to you. You no longer explain yourself to people who refuse to listen. You no longer carry guilt for choosing peace over chaos. This discernment is not selfishness, it is stewardship. You are learning to protect your energy because you finally recognize its value. Tomorrow may highlight this discernment clearly. You may be presented with choices that test whether you will return to old patterns or step forward into healthier ones. Trust yourself. The wisdom you need is already within you. You are not guessing anymore. You are recognizing. There is also an emotional strength settling into you that allows you to face truth without fear. You are no longer avoiding difficult realizations. You are willing to see things as they are, not as you wish they were. This honesty is powerful. It removes illusions and clears the path ahead. What remains after truth is something real, something stable, something worth building on. My child, tomorrow does not erase your past. It redeems it. Everything you endured now serves as context, not condemnation. Your story is not defined by what went wrong, but by how you grew through it. That growth is now becoming visible, not just to you, but to others as well. People may begin to respond to you differently. They may sense your calm, your clarity, your grounded presence. This is not something you force. It is something you carry. You may also feel a stronger pull toward purpose rather than distraction. Things that once entertained you may now feel empty. This is not loss of joy, it is refinement of focus. You are being drawn toward what nourishes you, what aligns with your values, what supports your growth. Follow that pull. It is guiding you. My child, remember that not every blessing arrives as an addition. Some arrive as a subtraction, removing confusion, removing pressure, removing fear. These removals create space for peace to take root. Do not resist what is leaving. What stays will be what supports you moving forward. Tomorrow will also test your willingness to trust timing. You may want everything at once, you may want immediate confirmation, but trust unfolds in layers. Each layer strengthens you further. Patience now does not delay fulfillment, it ensures stability. If you feel a quiet gratitude rising, honor it. Gratitude is not denial of struggle, it is recognition of growth, and growth is the evidence that you are not stuck anymore. You are moving, even when movement feels subtle. My child, you are no longer standing at the door wondering if it will open. You are standing at the threshold, ready to step through when it does. That readiness is the result of everything you have learned, released, and healed. As tomorrow approaches, do not burden yourself with expectations. Let it meet you as you are, present, open, grounded. History is not always loud. Sometimes it is written in the quiet decision to trust, to receive, and to move forward without fear. Stay steady, my child. What is unfolding is not fragile. It is intentional, and you are ready for it. My child, this is the moment where everything you have sensed begins to settle into certainty. Not certainty about every detail, but certainty about direction. You are no longer standing in the question of if something will change, but in the quiet awareness that change is already underway. Tomorrow does not need to prove itself dramatically, because its power lies in what it sets into motion rather than what it immediately reveals. You are stepping into a continuation, not an interruption, and that is why this shift feels calm instead of chaotic. You have reached a place where your spirit understands timing in a deeper way. Before, waiting felt like punishment. Now, waiting feels purposeful. This change did not happen overnight. It was built through disappointment that taught you patience, through unanswered questions that strengthened your trust, and through moments of exhaustion that forced you to rest instead of run. All of it refined you. All of it prepared you. Tomorrow arrives to meet a version of you that knows how to hold blessings without fear of losing them. My child, you may notice that your desires have changed. What you once begged for no longer holds the same urgency. What you crave now is stability, meaning, peace, and depth. This shift is important. It means you are no longer chasing outcomes to fill emptiness. You are inviting experiences that complement the fullness you are learning to build within. This is why what comes next will feel different from past chapters. It will not consume you. It will support you. There is a sense of grounded confidence forming in why. Even if you cannot fully articulate it yet. You are no longer trying to convince yourself that things will work out. You simply feel that they will. This is not denial. This is trust born from survival. You have seen yourself endure enough to know that you can handle what lies ahead. That knowledge steadies you now. My child, tomorrow may bring clarity in subtle ways, a realization that shifts your perspective, a conversation that confirms what you already felt, a decision that suddenly becomes easy. These moments may seem small, but they are anchors. They keep you aligned as momentum builds. Pay attention to what brings peace rather than excitement alone. Peace is the signal of alignment. You have also learned something crucial about control. You no longer exhaust yourself trying to manage every outcome. You understand now that some things unfold best when allowed to breathe. This surrender is not weakness. It is wisdom. It allows life to meet you halfway instead of resisting you at every turn. My child, you are also stepping into a phase where your presence itself becomes impactful. You do not need to speak loudly or prove your value. Your calm, your clarity, your grounded nature will be felt by others. Some will be drawn to it. Some may be unsettled by it. Both responses are natural. You are no longer responsible for managing how others receive your growth. Tomorrow may also bring a moment where you recognize just how far you have come. Not in comparison to others, but in comparison to who you used to be. The fears that once controlled you no longer have the same power. The doubts that once paralyzed you now pass through without staying. This is progress, quiet, meaningful progress. My child, what is being formed now is not temporary. It is not a fleeting high or a short-lived breakthrough. It is a foundation Foundations are not glamorous, but they determine what can be built safely. You are laying one now through patience, honesty, and self-awareness. What grows from it will last. There may still be moments when you question whether you are truly ready. Readiness does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward with wisdom despite it. You are ready because you are aware. You are ready because you are grounded. You are ready because you have learned to listen inward before reacting outward. Tomorrow will also ask you to remain present, not to rush ahead mentally or cling to the past emotionally. Presence is where alignment lives. When you stay present, you recognize opportunities instead of overlooking them. You respond instead of reacting. You choose instead of defaulting. This presence will guide you well. My child, understand this deeply. History being made in your life does not require perfection. It requires honesty. It requires willingness. It requires the courage to step forward without having every answer. You have already shown this courage in ways you may not have acknowledged. Each time you chose growth over comfort, you were preparing for this moment. You may feel a sense of quiet gratitude as tomorrow approaches. Let it rise. Gratitude does not mean everything was easy. It means you recognize that something meaningful grew through it all. Gratitude stabilizes the heart and opens it further to receive. There is also an invitation now to trust yourself, not the version of you shaped by fear, but the version shaped by experience. You know more than you think. You feel more accurately than you once did. You are capable of discernment that protects your peace and your progress. My child, do not measure tomorrow by how much happens outwardly. Measure it by how you feel inwardly. If you feel steadier, clearer, lighter, more grounded, then history has already begun to shift. External changes often follow internal alignment, not precede it. As you move into tomorrow, release the need to perform, impress, or prove. You are not on trial. You are in transition. Allow yourself to be human, present, and open. That openness is enough. History will be made tomorrow because you are no longer the same person who stood at the beginning of this journey. You have grown. You have learned. You have softened without breaking and strengthened without hardening. That transformation cannot be undone. Stay open, my child. Stay grounded. What unfolds next will confirm everything you sensed along the way. The path ahead is not loud, but it is true, and you are ready to walk it.